Oh, hey YouTube, what's up? Toshman Dow here, aka VFX Bro. Welcome to my channel. This is another tutorial brought to you by VFX Bro, if I haven't already said that. So I'm just gonna start like rambling on and stuff like that. It's gonna be like a super like long intro, but I'm going to get right to the point. First thing is I'm gonna start doing this for every tutorial, and I won't be weird like this whatsoever. The second thing is you're gonna need After Effects to do this tutorial. The third thing is right here. Third thing is you're going to need some cloud assets. Now I'm not going to go into explanation of that because when I screen record on my computer, I will show you guys where to get some cloud assets. Okay, so let's go ahead and get the tutorial started. It'll be about half an hour long, so sit tight and be prepared to hear a lot of detailed explanations on how to do this cool effect. Alright, peace out! Okay guys, so now we're inside Adobe After Effects, and again, before we get started, like I already said, I'm going to show you guys where to get some cool cloud assets. Now, again, I'm going to repeat myself. If you look in the top description below, there's going to be a link, and it'll link you to another tutorial, which is the cloud assets I got it from. Now, again, I did this a long time ago, like where I looked up a tutorial a long time ago on how to do this. This is something I just remember how to do and stuff like that. But I remember that I still have the download pack of those cloud assets. Now, some good places to get some cloud assets from is from cgtextures.com, which you can check as the second link in the description below. And then also you can use Bing or even Google and just type in, HD right here, HD cloud photos or assets. But we'll do photos. Then when that loads up, you would go into images. I would just using the regular Google search engine. And then there's all these: blue sky, gray cloud, rain cloud, sunburst. It's really cool. So you can click sunburst. You want some good sunny clouds like that as your background and stuff like that. It's really cool. And then what you want to do is kind of find clouds that are bigger than your composition. So for example, the composition we'll be creating is 1920 by 1080, so you will want to find one that's bigger than that. So you can just do this and right click and then save link as, save image as, and do that and scroll forward here. Now just in case, I would suggest clicking right here and then getting that link and copying it just in case. But yeah, so then we're in textures. This is actually my favorite one. I use this a lot. So what we're going to do is go and click on clouds. Now this video is not sponsored whatsoever, this is just my personal opinion. On textures.com you can sign up for free and you can get 15 credits a day, which means that you get 15 free downloads. Now a lot of HD clouds and stuff like that, sometimes the higher the quality, then you will have to get a premium one. So you can sign up for a free trial, and premium, there's a lot more things to do with a premium account on textures.com, like getting 3D scans and 3D brushes and HDR skies and spheres, which HDR spheres is good for Element 3D and stuff like that. So anyways, for example, if we type in clouds and we find this one, which I actually really like, and so all we have to do is find here, and then you can look and it shows free, premium. So there is a couple of options, and honestly this is a good size for that, so it's really good. And there's all these keywords, so it's really good. And then basically after you log in and stuff, you can download this, and it's just really fast and simple, and I love it. So yeah, in the future there'll be a more in-depth tutorial on textures and stuff like that, this website, and where I get a lot of stuff from. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump back into After Effects so we can start creating the effect. So basically we're going to press Command N to create a new composition, and we're going to title this, I would title, mine was main comp originally, but I'm going to title this tutorial 3D clouds, and then we'll make it 10 seconds long, width and height 1920 by 1080, but that's also the preset, which is HDTV 1080 and with a frame rate of 24 frames per second, and I have the resolution at half just so everything can render out faster. Now, although this is kind of called 3D clouds, it's not 3D clouds because 3D clouds has more atmospheric type things in it, and when you pass by it, it just looks more realistic. this is kind of, and it's not even a parallax tutorial either. It's kind of really just doing a simple scene. Let's go in here. It's like kind of doing a simple scene. I'm just moving through 2D clouds. So it's basically taking 2D images and making them 3D. So this is a really, I mean, you can do a lot of things with this, but I would suggest, maybe taking some clouds and positioning them, making keyframes in position to move them. But again, this is really honestly just learning how to input 2D images and make them 3D. And 3D is as in like you can move them around. Anyways, that's getting off topic. What we're going to do is go into our cloud layer, and there's this one called background. Now, if you did download this pack, then it'll be easier for you to follow. Basically, I would suggest, let's actually scale this out. I would suggest if you're taking your own photo, or you find a photo yourself, that you try to find one that has a lot of clouds so that it's more depth and it's also more of the background, because you don't want to bring like this one in, this cloud layer, and say this is your background because there's a lot of sky and stuff like that. But if you have this and it's all cloudy and stuff and it's matching the same color and stuff like that, this would be a good background. So basically we're going to change the scale back to 100, but what we're going to do is go to layer, new, and camera. But what I'm going to do, just to save time, is I'm going to copy my camera and then show you guys the settings for this one. Tutorial 3D clouds, this one, copy my camera here, U and keyboard, unposition this. So basically, hang on a second. So I'm going to go into layer, new, camera settings, this. So this is what it is. Just take a second here. The type is 2-node camera. I just have it camera 1 because that is our first camera. And for this is set on custom, by the way. Don't do anything else, put it on custom. And this is for the zoom is 658.5499. Film size is 102.05615. The angle of view is 54.43. The focal length is 99.2215. Now this is on millimeters. This is what it looks like on pixels, which is what we want it to be on, is pixels. So this is what it looks like right here. And make sure enable depth of field is unchecked and lock to zoom is unchecked. And remember to change it to pixels, or I believe pixels or millimeters. Pixels, make sure it's on pixels. And then I guess we can save this preset and we can change it, we can title it 3D Cloud Camera, just so that we can remember that. Okay, so actually let's do that. Let's this is just something adding. So let's go and create a new camera and make sure, and we can see the difference. So we do this and then we go down to here, 3D Cloud Camera, and everything's set up. Much easier. So this is our background, and we need to push this back into Z space because when we move the camera around, we want it to, have the background all the way back, because when we add our other cloud layers in, we want the cloud layers to be closer to the camera. So this will all make more sense in a second, but what we're going to do is hit P on the keyboard, and for the Z, we're going to do 20 to 30,000. So I'm going to do about 25,000. For the Z position. I'm going to zoom out here. Then we're going to scale this all the way up. And this will scale it, make sure there's no black marks there. This will scale it, and so basically if we go to this view where it shows active camera and we go to top, then you can actually zoom out and you can see where that image is. It's right here, so it's all the way in this far corner. So we're going to come back here later so I can show you what I'm talking about, but let's go ahead and add in our first cloud. So let's find a good cloud to use. What's the one I used in the beginning one? what's the second one? Fluffy clouds. We're going to drag and drop this above here. Now for this one, whoops. For this cloud layer, we're going to mask it out because, you know, it looks better that way. But for this cloud layer, we're going to find an area where, you know, we want to, basically, you know, an area where we think it looks good. And we're going to hit G on the keyboard, which will bring up our pen tool or mask tool. And we're just going to make an easy mask around here. I'm just going to mask like this. And then you're going to undo that and hit F on the keyboard, and you're going to feather this out by 200. Now when you run into this where it shows the line, all you have to do is toggle your mask back on, and the line will start to disappear, so we just do it like that. Now, in the final product of the video, I color corrected it to make it all the same, but for this portion, when you're editing it, you want everything to be the same color, so that when you're checking out the feathering and stuff, you can see if it matches. So you want to add a tint effect to all the cloud layers that you're using, so it's the same color, so you can see it looks like that. So for this one, we're going to put this as a middle one, so it can pass by. So we need to find a better cloud layer that, you know, kind of fits a little bit more. It needs to be, we need to find like a, I don't know, a good one. I'm just going to go back to this one and find which one I use clouds to. Press Command C on that. So this is the cloud I used. We're going to undo that mask. So this is clouds 2, and I have the tint effect on here, so what we're just going to do is make a good enough mask around here. It doesn't have to be perfect, and for this one, since there's just pure sky, we can just move along like here, untoggle the mask so we can see what we're doing, hit F on the keyboard, and type in 200. Now the reason why I'm kind of getting through these ones now a little bit quicker is just because it is basically just a rinse and repeat effect. You're just making a mask on the cloud and position it. Now, what we're going to do is, so that we can start off, now that we have 2 cloud layers, is first of all, I'm going to scale this one up a bit and reposition it to an area I want. Okay. So I want it to cover like this much, and we're going to adjust the scale a little bit, and then we're going to unsolo that. And so now we have these 2, and so for this one I want it to be very close to the camera, so we can either retitle that or we can just do this. Make sure all of them are 3D layers by checking this box. So basically you can see that the cloud just disappeared, and that's because it's at 2000 right now, and we need to scale it up. But basically this is what it looks like right now in Z-Space, but we're going to put this at 2000 only because this needs to be the closest one. So being at 2000 will be closest to the camera, which means when we pass by it, it's going to be looking really cool. Now for this one, we need to put it behind that, so we're going to go about 5000. So that's what it looks like. And then when we do this, we scale it, it's going to go behind the cloud. So that's already working out pretty good. And we don't have to mask out that line because we're scaling it like this. So now we go back to active camera, we go back to top, now and you zoom out, you can see this. So let's highlight all of these so we can see where they are. So this is the camera. Okay, this is the camera. This is the background layer. Fluffy clouds is for somewhere. I have no idea where it is. Wait, did I have that 329? Okay, hang on a second, guys. For this one, it should be at 3000, 5000. Wow, that scaled up a lot, guys. Sorry about that. That was just a bad mistake right there. My bad. Make sure positioning is there. Okay. Perfect. This should work. Okay. We'll just go back to top just to see a little breakdown. So this is the background. This is the closest one, and this is the middle one. So basically, this is kind of the background. Where the background is, that is the furthest point. Okay, the furthest point of the composition. But it looks like the closer one, but it's actually the camera is going the opposite way. So basically, as we zoom up, when we're passing by, and we're going to get to this corner point. So let's add some more cloud layers in. Let's kind of add a sky type one to give it more life. I really like this one, so we'll add storm clouds. Now for this one, we're going to put it at 10,000 because we kind of want it to be a bigger one. But what we're going to do is scale it up, and let's actually turn on 3D layer. Now for this one, we're just going to rotate it just a little bit to make it a little bit different. Not too much rotation, maybe just a little sideways. And we're going to position it up, find the best fit, and then we're going to start masking. So I want to add this cloud in just a little bit. So we're going to do it like this. Perfect. Rinse, repeat. Remember, feather to 200. Check if the lines are visible, which on the bottom here, the lines are very visible right there. So you always have to make sure. That's how you hide the effect of the actual picture, is when that happens. You have to fix that just by dragging the mask up. Again, add a tint effect to it. Make sure all cloud layers have a tint. Yep, they do. Okay, so let's match this. And again, this one is theirs at 2,000. This one's at 5,000. Wait a second. Yeah, 5,000. This one should be at, let's do about 7,000. So it's like that. So it's all the way back there, but we don't want that, so we're going to scale it up. Scale it like this. So although they do look closer to the camera right now, it's because we're actually looking at a 2D space right now. When we actually move forward through the area, the clouds are just going to start looking a little bit different. But this is kind of what we are currently just doing right now. So basically, I could spend more time showing you guys, how to add more clouds, but it's honestly just a more rinse and repeat effect of how you do it. If you want more clouds closer to the camera, this one is at 2,000, so you could have one at 1,000 or 500, very close. And you could even have some in between, like 3,000 and stuff. You can have one even way far back, like at 15,000. So let's actually just do that just as an example. Let's do dramatic clouds. Let's make this a 3D layer. Let's solo this just for now. Okay. Actually, let's unsolo it. Let's say we want, again, we need to add the tint effect. But let's say we want it to be like this much, but we also want to position it right here, like so. So it'll be kind of like a sky type thing. Let it load. Come on. And then what we're going to do is just make a quick, easy mask around here. Feather it like that. Check for lines. And when photos are like extremely, when photos intersect between each other, sometimes you won't be able to see the lines, so you're gonna have to solo that, and then you're gonna have to edit that by itself. So there is a little, I can tell that there would be little lines when the camera gets closer, so I'm just moving it up just a little bit. So we're going to position this at 10,000. Actually, let's do 15,000, so 15 and then 3 zeros. Okay, that's very far out, so we're going to scale that up. Okay, until the side of these lines are back. And then we're going to position it back up with the Y tool, moving it right here. And then unsolo this. Okay. And it looks really good so far. And then when we go back into the top, now we have more layers so we can see that little breakdown. So now this is really working out. So this is like amazing because this is like closer and stuff like that. So it's really cool and stuff like that. That's a good breakdown you can use in the near future. So this is pretty much it. Honestly, because there's not much else. Oh, whoops, forgot to put on active camera. So for the lightning, what I did is I found some good, I used these options that the person had on these photos, and so for this one, I'll just use this as an example. You can tell like on this photo it's a little bit darker, so what we could do is match that according to this, but we'd add a tint effect, of course, to match it. So what we're going to do is hit T on the keyboard and go about 30%. And before we do any masking, we can actually, let's do 50 so you can see it a bit more. We want to kind of match it according to this, so we're going to have to change this to a 3D layer. Hit on the keyboard, hit Shift P on the keyboard so it brings up both position and rotation. And we're going to rotate this on the negative using the Z tool, so we can start to see, because we kind of want to match it to an actual cloud when doing this. So let's do negative 180, which will flip it, basically. So that kind of works, and then what we're going to do is position it over here. And then we're going to mask right here. Load! It takes forever to load when I do these type of tutorials. So we're going to mask it like this. That's good. Okay. And then put the opacity back up to 100 just for now. Okay. Remember to feather it out by 200. Solo this just in case. And it looks perfect. There's no lines and stuff. So let's just keep it soloed right now. What we're going to do is and basically we're actually going to press Command-Shift-C on this. We're going to pre-compose this layer and title it Lightning Comp. Move all attributes into new composition, and for this lightning composition we're going to change it to 1 second. Okay, so we have this. Now for this we're going to hit T on the keyboard for opacity. We're going to go 4 frames, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to go back down to like 50%. Actually, let's go down to 20. And then we're going to go about like 3 forward. We're going to go to 50. And then we're going to go about like 4 more forward. 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, let's go 5 forward. We'll go up to we'll go up to like 70, so it gets a little bit brighter. We'll go about 3 frames. We'll go back down to 40. And then we'll go about this many frames, go up to 90. So we have this little lightning effect and stuff of that happening. And we go back into tutorial clouds and stuff. Let's go to the end because we have to change the time on this. We need to go to this and make sure it all matches up. Okay, so we have this and it looks pretty cool. Okay, so because we want it to match that cloud, we need to turn all of these off. Actually, no, not turn them all off. We need to find that cloud layer that was being used. So it was this one. So we're going to hit P on the keyboard. This was at 7,000. So we're going to make this at 7,000. and remember to turn that on for 3D as well. And we're going to push this back to 7,000, so it's the same. Okay. Let me press Command Save just for now. Hit S on the keyboard. We're going to scale this all the way up. Okay. So let's go about 300. A little bit more. Let's go to 400. And then we're going to position it back to where it originally was, which was right here. Perfect. What I'm going to do is, actually no, the tint. It's fine. So now we have this, and it's pretty cool. And as we, continue on, it will be lightning like that. So it just looks amazing. So basically, now all we have to do is, make the movement, the 3D movement on the camera. So we're going to hit P on the keyboard for our position on our camera. We're going to go all the way to the end, and if you use W, this will trade between, if you use C, this will trade between the different 3D camera tools, and when you get to this one, which is this Track Z camera tool, then this will, help us go into Z space. So what we're going to do is basically drag these photos like this. We're going to move forward into the scene. So we can drag more. And so now you can start to see what I'm trying to say in the very beginning, that now it looks like this. But of course, you want to make it a little bit more realistic by adding some smoke elements in there. Because honestly, if you've ever flown on a plane, there is, it's kind of misty-like, and when you see a lot of clouds. Okay, so right before we end this tutorial, you can see all these different lines, and that's where all the cloud layers are. So there's closer ones and there's further ones, the ones rotated, so it's pretty cool to see that. What we're going to do is up this a little bit. We don't want to go too much. Whoops. That was too much. So you can continue using this, or you can just go up on the Z tool just a little bit and continue positioning this. So it just creates a really good effect. 600. And so I would play it for you guys, but my computer again is slow. You guys already know that. But as we move back, as we keep moving back to 0 seconds, you can start to see that that's how it's turning out, and that looks really good. And I think it did very well. So the final thing to just top this off is going into Layer, New, Adjustment Layer, and I'm going to change this to CC. Now, one of my favorite color correcting plugins to use now is Red Giant's Magic Bullet Looks. So my main comp, this is the one I had, as well as this. So we'll go into here, go into this, copy this, and so I will show you guys exactly what I used for this. So in Looks, I hit Edit. Okay, so the one I used in Magic Bullet Looks is called Nerds in Space, because I thought it was pretty cool, and I just hit check on the keyboard. And then I use a simple curves effect. Let me turn off the curves so you guys can see. The curves added a little bit more contrast and stuff for it, and it just helped it a lot. And then I added Colorista 3, so this is without Colorista. And this is with Colorista. I wanted it to be more of a blue type effect, so this is what I did. You can copy this right here. I just messed with the shadows and the midtones a little bit, and I messed down with your saturation. I added more saturation. This is what it would look like without much saturation. But I wanted a lot, so I added 24, and then to make it pop out, I added 17. I didn't really mess with, whoops. I didn't mess with, over here, I didn't mess with the HSL or the curves right here. So that's all I did. Now, if you guys do not have this, I would suggest just creating another adjustment layer, turning this one off, and you kind of can create some similar effect. by adding curves, and to do this you just have to darken it a bit, and you have to give it a little brightness to it, kind of. And you just have to add some blue in there, not too much, you don't want to overdo it. And then you have to take down some of the red a little bit. At the same time, you don't want to make it like pink or, bright green like this, or, like so. So you kind of have to fix it a little bit. And then you can add a hue and saturation effect, and master saturation, tune it down, actually saturate it up a little bit, and master lightness, tune this down a little bit, maybe like so, not too much. And then you can add a brightness and contrast effect. For this, I would do like -20 and then 40 for the contrast. So this is the one I created using built-in plugins, and this is the one using external plugins. So it's a little bit different, but it still works, and you can also sharpen everything by adding the sharpening effect. So let's go ahead and do that. Blur and sharpen it to about 30. So this pops out, makes it look good. So this is what it looks like without that, and this is external plugin one, okay? And this is built-in plugin. So they're both almost very similar. It's kind of good, and you can finish it off with a nice vignette by doing this, then using the ellipse tool. Using the ellipse tool like this, holding Command so it stays in the center. And you can do that, and then subtract that mask, and then hit F on the keyboard, and feather it out quite a bit. So there's a lot of things you can do and stuff by creating a good video. So hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, remember to give it a thumbs up. If you think I went on way too much and I repeated a lot of stuff, please leave a comment. And more better tutorials will kind of be like this in the future. I'm really trying to, get back on. Excuse me. I'm really trying to get back on making, good tutorials and stuff. But this is one of my first in-depth ones in a long time. It's a lot of work, but I mean, it does pay off. So yeah, subscribe to my channel for more videos, and you guys have a good day, good night, wherever you guys are.